Okay, so when I do top-down analysis, I always start from a higher time frame down and go down to the lower time frame. So I usually start off with structure, and I look at zones, and then I look at narrative building, right? So that's how I do my top-down analysis. So looking at, from very high time frame, we have a daily chart here, and as you can see, we did break structure to downside and a little bit of a flip, right? So we got a flip, a bearish flip. Now it's hard to say for sure if this is going to be a continuation. When we do have a flip, we do expect a retracement back into the zone, right? But if you look even prior right here, the same thing happened here, right? We had a flip to the downside, but it never produced any sort of continuation, right? And so um, Sergio talks about this a lot, that these are considered flip zones, right? So this would be a flip zone. So we do expect price to retrace back, but for us to continue lower, we want to see a strong reaction from the flip zone and a continuation break of structure to continue a downtrend if we're gonna continue lower, right? Otherwise, this could just be a retracement on a higher time frame to continue higher, right? So if we come back in the flip zone and we don't get that reaction to break below here, then this could be the end of the bearish flip, right? Just like how we saw here, it came down, traded back into the zone, did not get a strong reaction, and then we basically flipped bullish, right? So this ended up being a fake flip. Um, and so when we're looking at flips, you want to be careful about trading flip zones. So this is something that I'm implementing now, is staying away from flip zones, and so maybe I'll just show you really quickly here. I consider this also a flip zone, right? So we had a flip. It's a bit more teaching than pre-market, but I just want to show this. So we have a first sign of a flip, right? So we had a bullish flip where we broke a protected high. We came down, failed to make a new low, right? So this failure to make a new low is an indication that this high is weak, and the expectation is to come back higher, right? So we have this little flip. But trading flip zone is that you don't really know if this is going to be a flip that changes order flow to go much higher, right? As Sergio mentioned in the previous top analysis, there's a 50% mark of this leg, right? So when you're looking at retracements, right, you can look at a couple ways. So one, you can look at the last impulse leg and get the 50% of the impulse leg, right? So you do expect a retracement at least to the 50% of here. You also have a 50% of this larger leg, which would be around here, that kind of is in confluence with this SNDR zone here, right? So you can expect a retracement, a minimum to here or to the large one before we continue to go down lower, right? Continue to go down lower. So that's kind of the expectation once you flip or once you have a large leg. Once you reach a higher time frame objective, you do expect a retracement, right? And so in this case, we hit a significant S&D R here, a zone. As I mark out different zones, we have our structure and then we have our zones. Right, so this is a significant one that I had marked out for a while that I did expect a reaction from, and so we have to see if this is gonna be enough to put in a new high, which I think it's a little bit unlikely. At least for now, my bias is still bearish because we just broke this daily. We just flipped bearish, and we have these strong moves down, creating lower time frame structure to the downside. And now here we have a very important area where where we're expecting a reaction. So the question is this going to be a reaction just to get to the 50%, or is this going to be a higher time frame move to go up higher, right? So on the 15-minute, again, we have this little flip zone, right? So the 50% is around here. So the question is, like, are we going to just come up to tap the 50% and then head lower, which is definitely a possibility, or we're gonna head up higher. towards the 50% of that larger area, right? So it's still yet to be seen. We have to look at that lower time frame to see what's going on. And so that's the problem also with flip zones, right? The flip zone is that you don't know if this is going to be an actual flip change in order flow to just continue trending up higher, or if this is going to be just a flip to take us to the 50% and then follow like the higher time frame structure, right? So that's why sometimes trading flip zones are a bit difficult because you don't know when if it's an actual flip and change in order flow or if it's just a flip to take us to mitigate or to rebalance an area, right? So potentially we're thinking that's going to rebalance 50% of this first impulse, like at the very least, and then we have to see what type of reaction we get. Oftentimes as well with flip zones is that we're it's the beginning of a range, right? So typically price moves from expansion, consolidation, then to expansion. So ideally for flips you want it just to be very clean and then just a change in order flow, right? But oftentimes you'll find that flips are not as clean like that, and that there's often a lot of manipulation within zones, flip zones, because a lot of people are anticipating this to be a flip or this to be a bottom, and a lot of people are buying here. So a lot of times you have like range like behavior within flip zones, and then it actually flips. So that's why sometimes this is a bit difficult and not clean. Although we do have our our, our expectation that this high is going to be taken, right? And then eventually to the 50% would be our minimum target. But we just don't know how clean it's going to be, right? It can easily, it, right now we do have a bit of a bearish flip right now on the 1 minute, right? So so this can easily come down. This can easily come down and tap into lower time frame area to mitigate and then go up higher, right? It can either disrespect that, and again, because this is kind of a larger range, you can either disrespect that and then head up higher. So that's why trading in flips can be a bit difficult, because this is now more like internal structure. This is more like a larger range, right? Before actually leaving the flip zone, right? So when you're looking at flip zones, ideally you want confirmation, right? You want us to, so say this is the flip zone, you want us to leave the flip zone clearly, right? And then sometimes not trading the zones at the top, like so if we just come here and just tap it, and we're just creating little zones here, right? Oftentimes these zones at the top of the range can be liquidated before going up higher, right? So you want to be careful about trading all this because this is all part of the flip zone, and this is also where the 50% is. So you don't know if this is gonna do that and just head down now, right? So that's a possibility, right? But if you what you want to do though is you want to wait for a clear direction after the flip. So once price comes up here, and if it shows like continued strength, right? Then here's where you can find you know you might find a trade up here or here, right? Because now it's clearly leaving the flip zone. We clearly flipped, and now we did not show a strong reaction from the 50%, and we're now above the 50% and now trending higher. Now we have a clear trend outside of the flip zone, right? With potential targets up here with the 50% of that larger zone. This would be a nice trend, a clean trend to trade from, right? So sometimes flips again can be a little bit difficult to see, but I mean here in the internal structure we're clearly up. We have this high, that's a nice clean target with the 50%. So we can either just go straight there, we can play around a bit before going there, but likely we're gonna head there, before we go down, if we do go down, right? So um, so that's kind of like the short term, or the actually I guess the higher time frame. Again, is that we have this daily flip to trade back up. Ideally we want to see strong reactions. If we get a strong reaction from the 50% and head back lower, I really do like that, because that is indicating a very strong downtrend, right? The more areas that we leave unbalanced, like we're leaving these areas behind, right? It indicates a very strong trend. Whereas if we start seeing all these areas get mitigated and like small staircase down, right? Then it gives what we call low resistant run, where we can just head up higher quickly, right? But the expectation is that because there's all these unmitigated areas, all these can provide us the reaction point to head down lower, right? So and the the less higher that we go just indicates a very strong trend to continue down lower. And if we do end up going lower, we have some zones below that have not been rebalanced that I am expecting price potentially to go down to if we're going to continue this downtrend, right? If we disrespect this is a very important and strong demand zone, right? But if we completely disrespect that, this would be potentially the next stop. This one we had a little SNDR, a little fractal on the higher time frame where we definitely got the strong reaction from, right? So we'll have to see if this holds still, but I mean, I do expect if we're gonna break this one, the next stop would be this juicy mover region SNDR. And then I mentioned this in my other narrative is that like the higher time frame, if we're actually in a recession, if we actually start getting some bad economic data or some black swan event, something, this is my higher time frame zone target, right, which is around 17,000, right? It seems like quite a long ways, but I mean now it doesn't seem too impossible, especially if we have some weakness, bad economic data that comes in. I think this is a reasonable target on a higher time frame. We do have, this is obviously going to take weeks and weeks to get to. Not expecting anytime soon, but maybe end of the year if we do enter into some bad economic data. But other than that, I mean, obviously that's too far away, so we don't predict. We react to what price is doing, and right now price is reacting on the lower time frame, reacting to this zone. Right, so go down to the lower time frame. Right, so this is a range and a potential flip zone, right? So a range, we can first notice that we're in a range is by failure to create a new extreme, right? Or failure to create a new low or new high, right? And so right now we have failed to do that. So this is potentially a range, or it is a higher time frame range with internal structure heading up, right? And with ranges, you can see structure break multiple times before leaving the actual range and giving us a clear direction of what it wants to do. So again, it's too early to say if this is gonna just I do believe it is gonna come to the 50% of this at the very least, but then it's too early to say if this is actually gonna be a flip to go higher or if this is all it's gonna do, the 50% and then head down. So we wait to see what type of reaction. If we get a strong reaction off the 50%, we see some displacement, with some fair value gaps being left behind, then those would be nice to trade off of to start looking for lower prices, and potentially we might see a larger dump sometime this week if we meet an objective. If we sweep the liquidity up here, we take it, we can come down. I don't know if that's going to be enough, to be honest. After such a large move down, you do expect that price needs to rebalance and fill and finish inefficiencies, right? So I don't think just taking this, I don't know if this is going to be enough to just drop it lower. I think that it's going to maybe require a bit more trickiness, right? Or even come up higher to here. But again, we'll have to see. Let me see if I missed anything else. I think that's pretty much it. It's just a quick one. Right? So again, anytime we reach a higher time frame objective or a higher time frame high or low, we do expect a change in order flow to rebalance, or we expect some accumulation before continuing the trend. Right? So right now, that's kind of what we're doing. We're potentially changing order flow to go higher, or we're gonna accumulate here and sweep the 50% and then head lower. I think that's it. I think I had a couple other things I wanted to mention, but can't remember right now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed top-down analysis. You guys have any questions? Any comments? Anything that I missed? Uh, oh, sorry. I see some comments here too. Paul, the top you fib from is already rebalanced. The top, yeah, yeah. So if you, I mean, I don't think it's that fully rebalanced, right? Oh, so look, for example, if you look at all this, right? So you have right. So look at this leg, right? So yeah. So look at this leg. So I mentioned this leg here, where we got the flip, and then we failed to see the reaction. We just continue going higher. But here, look at this. So we have a flip here, a daily flip, right? We traded back in around 50% of that zone, and we saw a strong reaction, and then made another leg down, right? And then we had a move back up to around 50% of the zone, and then had a nice move down, right? So I mean, we had a strong reaction, so I don't think we're gonna go all the way to 50% here. I would be nervous if we get to 50% and then no potential go higher. I think that this will be enough, or the 50% here will be enough. If we're gonna head lower, I'm expecting something like this, right? And you see here that it's taking liquidity, it's breaking lower time frame structure. So this right here is a lower time frame flip, right? It's a lower time frame flip, but it's only going to mitigate on a higher time frame before heading down, right? So just like here, you're getting a lower time frame flip, and so the question is it only going to be an area to rebalance before heading down, or is it going to actually be a flip to take us higher, like here, right? So this is an example where it just went higher, and this is an example where it mitigated went down, and like here, right? You have a large move down, a large daily flip. It came back to rebalance, and then it continued down, and then here, right? It came back up and it took this high just by a couple, no, very little, or it looks like almost equal, and then it went down again, right? So you have this rebalance and then down, and then lower time frame flip to rebalance again and then down, right? You know, rebalance and then down, and then here you have a higher time frame rebalance, you know, to the 50% of the dealing range, and then down, and then here. This is the decision point where are we going to head down lower again after takes liquidity, or is this a real flip? And so this is a tricky area where this is like a pivotal moment where is it going to continue the trend, or is it going to reverse and head higher? So here it's like we do expect a retracement, and then we look for that pivotal moment where okay, now is it going to head down lower, or is this enough where where it's just going to go higher, right? So we don't really know the answer to that until price shows us, and then we react to it. But I mean, but typically our bias is with the structure, right? So structure is bearish, so we do expect a retracement, and then bearishness is going to give us more higher probability, right? So here, it was bearish, we got retracement, so we expect continuation to the downside. And so I am expecting that, especially because of the strength of this move, and because of we've kind of gone up for quite a long time, leaving areas that need to be rebalanced far away. So we definitely have a speed bump. So the question is this enough to give us new highs, or is this gonna just bring us to rebalance and then head down lower, right? So gun to my head, I mean, I think we're gonna go a bit lower to at least this one maybe. Um, this one seems a bit far, and I'm not really too concerned about it right now, um, but that's kind of my expectation, right? So it's the question is whether or not we're gonna see this type of large downtrend, or we're just gonna or we're just gonna see this and head up higher, right? And so it's similar, right? You have these things, and then eventually it flips, right? And you don't know if this is gonna be a flip zone, or if this is just to mitigate and go lower, right? But I mean, yep. So that's pretty much it. Right. So Mondays, oh, there's like ICT has these things called like weekly profiles, right? And especially with no news, right? So we have news on, I believe, Wednesday and Thursday, right? So ICT will talk a lot about how Mondays are like it's for liquidity building. It's like building up liquidity, right? So we have this range, Monday, and we have liquidity building up on both sides. And then how the weekly profile works is that, if it's gonna be like, for example, a classic Tuesday or Wednesday profile, right? Monday will be ranging, and then Tuesday will be the manipulate. Tuesday or Wednesday, like, or both days can be the manipulation, right? And then Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday can be the distribution, right? And then Friday is sometimes TGI Friday, which is just retracement to like 20-30%. Right, so this would be then there's different profiles. There's like five different profiles where you have the Tuesday Classic, Wednesday Classic, you have like the Wednesday Reversal. You have a few different ones, right? So if this is gonna be like a Tuesday or Wednesday Classic, then this is a typical profile that you might see. It's like Monday ranging, Tuesday Wednesday the manipulation, and then Wednesday Thursday is the distribution. If we're gonna, I don't think we're gonna get that profile, to be honest. I think it's gonna be a reversal profile, which is like um it's like Monday up, and then it's like this, right? So it's like a reversal profile. But we'll have to see. Anyways, those, obviously we're not really trading off of those weekly profiles, but sometimes I do think about it based on, what do I think that the week is gonna look like, right? So I think it's really important to do like top-down analysis whenever you get to the chart, just to give you an idea of what price could potentially do, and so you're not really surprised, right? At some point, price might look chaotic, might look random, but it's never a surprise to you, and you're always able to find like that order of, in the midst of chaos. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you guys do enjoy this and want me to do more of them, I can start doing them again, um, every morning, or I can do post market just so that it's not redundant with what Sergio's doing. But I think that's it. All right.